All right, everyone. Thanks for coming. Tonight was a pretty good night. We played with 8 players. I think that's the first time, or maybe the second time we've ever really had to do that. So we had some different fielding alignments tonight. We had some people out sick. Nothing we can really do about that. But you have to line up and play with regardless of what we have, right? So we dealt with some adversity tonight from that perspective, but we did a really good job of dealing with that adversity. 4 of the 5 runs they scored were off of 2 hits. And really that came from the first hit came from our placement. They hit somewhere in the outfield that we weren't. But we did a great job getting the ball in. And then at the last inning, we were up by 4 runs when they scored the last 2 runs. That was we were in position. We made an error on the ball. Usually we make a great play on that, but even with that, we got to the ball, we got it in, and we made it a close play at the plate, closer than I think they were expecting. So we did a really good job in that perspective. We ended up with our pitcher went 64 pitches, 6 strikeouts, 2 base on balls, 3 hits, 2 earned runs. I'm sorry, 1 earned run, 1 hit by pitch. And then he had to put out. We had to put out at second by the shortstop, and put up at second by the second baseman. And so we did some pretty good things tonight in the field. There also were some times where we uh, we, we lost a little bit of focus. We had a ball go through the infield between third and shortstop that just kind of slow rolled into the outfield. We shouldn't have allowed that to happen. That ended up being a double when should have been a single at the most. We had a ball go over to third baseman that we just kind of bobble and we weren't really looking at. Uh, we didn't make a stop on that. That runner ended up getting to third base, so single with 2 errors. And so there's some times when we need to work on our focus. And I talked to the boys about that during the game. I talked to them after the game as well. We have to be able to focus, and we have to be able to all pull together in order to be competitive. We can't always, we made some plays behind our pitcher tonight. We did a pretty good job in that regard. There are other times where we lost focus and we have to get better at that. At the plate, we did a really good job. Everybody actually ended up having 3 at-bats tonight. And we did a really good job at the plate. We ended the night with 4 hits, which is really good for us. We made them throw 109 pitches to our 64. So that is really good. On the season right now, we're almost 200 pitch. I think we're 198 pitches more that we have seen than we've had to throw, which is really good. That's a really good situation to be in. So tonight we end up with 4 hits, as I said, 11 walks, 7 strikeouts. We had 17 quality at bats that I counted, 3 stolen bases. One thing that I was really impressed with, we had 1 bad swing tonight. There was 1 pitch that we should not have swung at. It was really low out of the zone. I think we just got fooled on it. It's going to happen every once in a while. But as a team, we didn't have any pitches that we should not have been swinging at. And if you look at the beginning of the season, as far as what we are learning, the beginning of the season, we did have some pitches that either too high, too low, way out of the zone that we shouldn't have been swinging at. We didn't do that tonight. We didn't do it Monday night. And so we're getting really good at that. We're getting a lot better at seeing the ball and knowing when to swing, when not to swing. As a matter of fact, we had, as I said, we had 8 players tonight. Win a game with 8 players. That's really good. That contributed to the number of runs that they scored. If we had 9 or 10 players there, they're probably scoring 1 or 2 fewer runs than that. But what was really good is out of the players that we only had 1 player who did not see 10 pitches tonight. Okay. Everybody else saw 10 pitches tonight. The 1 player who didn't see 10 pitches tonight was just really hitting the ball really well. It got on base all 3 times, had a 3 for 3 night. So we did a really good job at the plate. And those are things that we can work on. And in the first inning, we made them throw 31 pitches. We made them throw 38. in the second inning and then 40 in the third inning. And so again, like when we're making people throw a lot of pitches, then we can end up doing a really, really good job from there. And then in the field, really the time that we struggled was the third inning a little bit with our focus. And that's, making those last three outs. We have to close out a game. We have to close out a game and we have to get better at that. We'll continue to work on that. But overall, very good night. We have another one tomorrow that will come back, and another 5:45 game will come back. Try to see what we can do tomorrow. Try to win one tomorrow as well. See what we can put on the field, what we can put together. So, question if anybody has one. Yeah. So, talking about the fielding alignment. Because we had eight people, I wanted all infielders positions filled. But if you notice, we had people playing really, really deep. We were less concerned about making outs at first, like getting a ground ball, throwing it over to first. We could still do that, but we were less concerned with that. What I wanted to make sure we were doing is stopping the ball. Um, and like I said, there were two times where we just kind of lapse of judgment, didn't do that. But other times, we had a ball hit to the second baseman, he makes a play. We had to have a ball hit to shortstop, he makes a play. And so we did a good job with that. On the night we had two walks and a hit batsman. So we put three runners on that we should not have put on. Okay, so those are basically three people that we lost. The hit batsman, we had an 0-2 count against. Ball gets away, we get a hit batsman there. It's one that we'd like to have back, and that's one that we can learn from. One of the walks was same thing. I think we battled back. We started off with two balls and no strikes, then battled back, and then just ended up losing him at the end. And so, those are things that we can work on. Those three runs or those three base runners that we put on ended up all scoring. And so that's just kind of, one thing that we can do to get ready for the future is just know, when we put somebody on, when we give a free pass, either by a base on ball or hit by pitch, that's a valuable run that can come back against us. And so we have to be ready for that pitching wise. But we did a great job tonight. We are fortunate that we have a good pitching roster. We have a good pitching staff that we can go three, even four deep as far as people that can pitch on the team. And as I said, we haven't been able to have a lot of practice, which I don't really like. I like having more practice where we can do some more teaching. And hopefully after this week, we'll get back to our regular practices where then we can work more on pitching and we can work with some of the kids who want to develop more in pitching and get them some experience going later in the season with competition games and things like that. All in all, really excited about tonight. To win with eight players again, I said is a pretty cool thing. So it's something to be celebrated, something to be proud of. And then look at what we can learn from it, how we can move on, and how we can try to put together a good game tomorrow as well. So thanks a lot, everybody.